choirs. I love to sing with other people. Every week I look forward to Sunday when I can come together with this group.
IOC is a really special place for music making.
And there is much to be learned.
It is both socially fulfilling and musically fulfilling in a way that I'd never personally experienced before in a choir.
Except that she's like, oh, the descending.
IOCSF means home.
I love being involved in a group that's sort of on the cutting edge of choral music.
They bring their talents to the table, but the quality of the community is also something very, very amazing.
It was just a perfect, safe place to be.
We do this for the simple joy of creating and sharing and then giving something beautiful.
IOC not only has a great choral sound,
but it's also a great place to meet your husband. Which is how that happens. So that really is a meaningful place for IOC in my life.
Yeah, it's pretty important to us.
I think choral ensembles like IOC are groups that bring people together in a beautiful way.
And you love singing new stuff, very fresh stuff. I think that brings a different spirit into the choir.
It's sort of the perfect little storm of a bunch of people who are really committed to it, skilled at what they're doing, and love being with each other doing it.
When we actually start singing together, just the sound and the feeling is transcendent. It's hard to describe.
2, 3, and... And give it the lilts with the text, right? Gloria in excelsis in excelsis Deo. Yeah, hear that little lilt to it? And that'll help, yeah? 2. Oh, that's better basses. Okay. 3 iterations and it's gotten better each time. That's fantastic. What are you doing to get better at this? Listening. Lifting. Thinking. Singing the right note. That's a good thing. And tenors, you guys also. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Yeah, arrive at day and then immediately get off of it. Yeah? What? No, that's it. We're never going to do it again until the performance.
Personally moved to be in the choir.
it's so much fun.
And just like, there we go, yeah. Let's work it, do the chicken.
A sharp!
Oh God! Whale sound! Whale sound! Whale sound! Sounds of a whale!
The whale has it!
For me, IOCSF still has that feeling. It has that feeling of we're charting this
this path that we don't even know where we're headed, but it's pretty fun.
What was so exciting about starting your own choir is that you can make it whatever you want.
The founders of the choir back then were Jeremy, Faust, Elaine Robertson, and Cole.
I remember just Elaine and I running around trying to make it work.
Most of us had day jobs, you know, so most of us were not music careerists.
We were kind of flying by the seat of our pants because what we were doing was, you know, so new.
We weren't just doing the old standards and didn't feel like college choir, didn't feel like church choir. It felt like we were doing something different.
I think the International Orange Chorale was probably the first choir ever recruited by email.
It was a really interesting mix of old and new San Francisco.
We were a community chorus, you know, in the beginning.
You've got people who've lived here for a long time, who grew up here and came back and were creating a musical experience, mixed with people who were coming here for school.
So we were this nameless choir, and at some point it came down to a couple choices.
I had suggested International Orange Chorale because it's the Golden Gate Bridge, and I thought, you know, this is just like something we can all sort of all identify with. It's a very San Francisco thing.
And I'm embarrassed to admit, like, I was one of the people who was like, International Orange Chorale is a stupid name. I was totally for the other thing.
You were so wrong.
I was wrong.
We weren't the International Orange Chorale of San Francisco. We wouldn't have sung at the Golden Gate Bridge celebration. We wouldn't have that icon. And I think that we wouldn't have, we wouldn't stand for San Francisco as well as we do. I think it's a great landmark to be a part of. I think we're the music of that bridge.
The range of composers that you perform is a testament to the imagination that goes into the entire group. Everything from my stuff, which tends to be very tonally centered and very lyrical along lines, to Milton Babbitt.
The best thing about the Babbitt was that it was introduced as, this is the most difficult piece of music you'll ever sing. There's a lot of intricate, odd intervals in there.
The choir getting banded together to learn this ridiculously hard piece of music.
It's a great opportunity for young singers, but also increasingly for young composers.
In the early days, we went looking for composers whose voices had not been tapped yet.
It's really surreal to hear my music brought to life.
Sometimes it's like, I didn't realize it was going to sound like that.
I have to say that the time when one of my own works was first premiered was a wonderful, wonderful moment for me.
In the very beginning, one of the reasons I started International Orange Chorale with Elaine and Cole, and eventually with Paul really taking the mantle as well, was that I was a young composer and I was trying to get my stuff out there.
I started showing Zane my pieces.
We were doing a concert of all women composers, and Zane approached me and asked if I had anything that I wanted him to look at.
The third one I showed him, it was something I was working on, and you know, it was something he seemed interested in, so he asked me to finish it up, and they would perform it, and that ended up being I Am a Little Church.
The fact that there are living composers that we're singing for and that are actually composers within this choir is such a treat and a privilege.
The way that we support the writing of new music.
Nowadays what I do is I help Zane and Kenrick find new composers.
Through commissions.
When the 75th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge was happening and they had the opportunity to commission pieces in honor of that occasion, I was invited by Jeremy and Zane to compose a piece.
Through competitions for composition.
I was selected 3 or 4 years ago as the winner of their Golden Gate composition competition. So I got to write a work based upon, or for, I should say, the 75th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge. It was called Chrysopeile, which means Golden Gate in the Greek. The architects that built the bridge, one of them was also a poet, and he inscribed on the bridge itself poems. Texts from the Gold Rush, of course, which San Francisco is deeply committed to that history. It took Latin texts dealing with light and gold, and it took those texts of the architect of the Golden Gate Bridge. And so those together, I formed into a symmetrical structure that sort of has the arcs of the bridge built into it. When I hear my music brought to life, it's just, it's one of those experiences that you can't really equate with anything else.
Think about all of the new music that we're putting out.
I show them what International Orange is all about, and they say, I want to do that. Let me write for that.
What I'd like to see happen over the next 10 years or so, in the future as we move forward, is that, we really establish a strong support of local composers and up-and-coming composers.
We want these composers to have successful lives as composers, and this is a great way for the public to hear their music and hear us perform it well.
IOCSF is the chorus in my head. So when I'm writing choral music and I'm trying to imagine how it is going to sound, that's the sound that I'm hearing.
If the piece doesn't work, there's only one person to blame. Okay? Because the group is sensational.
You can write what you hear and what you feel, and this group of singers will make it happen, and it'll make it happen better than you thought possible.
I cannot sell short the feeling of thanks and gratitude that I feel for every volunteer.
I volunteer to help find images for the posters.
I've been working on some grants.
I also currently am the librarian.
I have worked and continue to work off and on the website.
I was the snack guy.
I like to call myself the accidental assistant conductor. Kyle, to answer your question from last week, you should switch to the F on the cutoff. A little higher. Flatness in general, it's not that you can't hear it, it's that your body's in the way, and you have to get your body out of the way. Raising my upper jaw, it releases a lot of tension that's found right here. Save. Cool? Okay. I always look forward to retreat every year. Retreat's really fun.
I would say retreat.
I've always loved retreat.
We rehearse and we eat and we play a couple of games.
You get to spend all day making music. Who doesn't want to do that?
It's a chance to really delve into the music and do some good work.
I mean, we just started this morning and we've already rehearsed for 2.5 hours straight through, and we still have an entire afternoon to go.
And also a chance to get to know everyone a lot better.
The retreat is a good blend of rehearsal and hanging out.
The main purpose behind that is to grow in unity.
The social aspect of the group is one of my favorite things about it. It's such a close-knit group of people.
We used to do retreat up in Larkspur at Jeremy's parents' vacation home. And while it was extremely cramped, we squeezed 30 singers into a living room in a small cabin. That actually probably made it cooler, more fun, because you had no choice but to be connected to the guy whose shoulder you were touching. Massagey to your facey. All the way up to here. Jake, you happy?
I am very happy. I'm all fantastic.
The insanity that happens during choir retreats.
I mean, all of the fun, games at retreat.
I don't often get to teach rounds to people who can pick them up so quickly. The road is calling as leaves.
You're going to write a song to tell this story.
My travels are now done. We'll sit by the fire and drink a toast to all of us. Farewell. I must be gone.
It has to be silly, some cheesy games, but that's what makes it fun.
All right, this is a great one that Rebecca Eisman taught me, actually. I've been waiting all the day long to see the stars in your eyes. My love, come dance with me now.
This choir just brings out the silliness and fun in me.
Winnie the Pooh.
IOC, spiritually we feel like cheese. Not like Swiss cheese. There's not like holes in the middle of it. Like a good
gooey brie.
Yeah, like brie. It spreads really nicely on the cracker of life.
And blends very well.
Oh, blends so well.
But adds a nice zest and punch.
Exactly. It's nicely aged.
10 years.
10 years.